So should you move to get a job? Today I want to talk to you about when you should move and when you shouldn't, and some things to look out for, as well as how to succeed at doing this. Justin here with Succeeded IT. In this channel I want to help you start and grow your career in IT into something you love and to create the success that you want. So let's get into it. So should you move for a job? This really depends. This is kind of a big topic. A lot of it depends on what kind of situation that you're in right now. Are you single or are you married? Do you have really deep roots in where you're living, or are you more flexible in your ability to pick up and move? In my opinion, if you're single, and especially if you're young, there's really nothing that should be stopping you. If you're married, or maybe if you have a family that you need to provide for, this is a lot bigger consideration to take, and you need to really think this through with the rest of your family or your partner and discuss this. But there's always a lot of opportunity to be had by moving into a city where there's more jobs available. Before I get into my story, I just want to say that if you're new here, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. I've got a new video coming out every Tuesday, so it will tell you as soon as I drop that video. About 10 years ago, I moved to Chicago for a change in my career, and it was honestly the best thing that I ever did in my life. Prior to that, I was working as an IT consultant and contractor and doing all sorts of IT work at a company in Indiana in a small town. And I worked there for about 10 years, but I started to really outgrow the opportunities that were available to me. I didn't really see a lot on the horizon as to where I could go with my career. And I honestly probably should have left sooner than I did, but I was just afraid to pick up and move to Chicago. Once I finally overcame that fear, it changed everything. Thanks to one of my now best friends, I had an opportunity to come into Chicago and take a consulting role with a large company downtown. I decided it was time to make the move, and I picked up my roots in Indiana and I moved to Chicago. Once I started working in Chicago, I started to meet so many amazing people, and I really had an opportunity to make a lot of connections in the city and in the region, and I continued to grow my career for the past 10 years in Chicago, and it's just been absolutely incredible. So why should you consider moving for a job? Every city has its own economy, and some cities are on the rise right now. Some cities are booming and they're really growing, and some cities are not. And it could be that you're living somewhere where there's not really a lot of opportunities being made, and it would be beneficial for you to move to a city where there's a lot of opportunity and you would be in demand. So if you're looking to figure out where all the great jobs are and where can you go that you would be in demand, what I typically do is I go onto a website. I use Indeed.com. I'm not sponsoring them. I just happen to find that their tool is really useful for this. So if you go to Indeed.com and then you just search for a role throughout the whole region. So in my case, I'm going to just search the entire United States. And now let's take a look at the locations where these jobs are available. You'll see that it shows me many job postings that are available in each city. This is also a great way for you to figure out which jobs are in demand and which ones are not in demand. For example, if I search for VMware administrators, you'll see that there's not that many results. Some of the cities are the same, but the amount of jobs that are being posted are not the same at all. Versus if I search for, let's say, a cloud engineer role and I see how many jobs are posted in each city, you'll see that the numbers are really high. So if you're considering making the move to a new city for a new role, here's a few things that I would do to ensure or maybe improve your chances of success. First is to make sure you become a subject matter expert in whatever it is that you want to be doing before you even move, before you apply for a job. So if you want to be, let's say, a cloud engineer or a cloud architect or a network engineer, go and do that first. Become a network engineer and then go get your certifications. You need to become an expert in this field if you expect to be able to move and be successful in a career in a new location. Once you've done the work and you've become a subject matter expert in the field that you're interested in, Now you can start applying to jobs. Go onto the website, find the jobs, the cities that you're interested in moving to, and find the companies that you're interested in working for in those cities, and just start applying for those companies. But here's a couple things not to do. First of all, do not move to a new city before you have a job, okay? That's a very scary situation to be in. Just because there's a lot of jobs in Seattle, Washington, doesn't mean that you should pack up and move to Seattle, Washington, and then try to find a job once you're there, because now you're really in a tough situation. Instead, you want to make sure you become a subject matter expert, get your certifications, land the job, and have a signed job offer letter and a date that you start and move. Now, what you could do is you could start preparing to move. You can start to sell your things and reduce your footprint overall to make your move easier. But don't go moving to a new city in hopes of finding a job. Another thing I would avoid doing is don't apply to too many companies at once. If you find, say, 3 to 5 companies that you're really interested in working in a city that you're interested in moving to, apply to those 3 to 5 companies, maybe 10 companies, but you don't want to balance too many different interviews and hiring processes at once. Typically, the interviewing processes are a little bit exhausting, and applying for companies is a little bit taxing. So you'll want to do it in like batches. Apply to 5 companies and start those processes and see if you can get some interviews going with those companies, and run those until completion and see if you got any opportunity out of those. And as some of the companies start to fall off the radar, or maybe if they go with a different candidate, then start applying for more companies. But don't go apply for 100 companies all at once. You're going to be overwhelmed, and it's going to be very difficult to manage that as well as doing your day job. So pick and choose and do it more methodically, and take your time to find the right role at the right company. So if you really want to make moves in your career, now is the time to take action. Find the job that you want, become a subject matter expert in this role. Go get all the certifications. Don't give in to the fear of moving, and go apply for all your jobs that you're interested in, find the companies you want to work for, and just go make it happen. Give me a like if you're into what I'm doing here. I've got a new video coming out every week, like I said, and I look forward to seeing you next week.